Welcome everyone to the April 6th, 2026 Miami Township Board of Trustees meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First at 5:01. First order is trustee agenda approval. If anyone has any corrections or anything they'd like to vote to add or reorganize. I have one new business. I'd like to flip the last two items in order.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we flip the last two items under new business in their order.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? May we vote?
Moved and seconded to flip the last two items under new business on the agenda for this evening's proceedings. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Haslund?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay. This time we will conduct the swearing in of our new fiscal officer, Cindy Powell.
Ready to come over there?
Hello.
Probably should be on camera.
Oh.
Make it official now.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Cynthia Powles,
I, Cynthia Powell,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties incumbent upon me
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties incumbent upon me
as the fiscal officer for Miami Township,
as the fiscal officer for Miami Township,
according to the laws of the State of Ohio and to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the laws of the State of Ohio and to the best of my ability and my understanding.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of our last meeting for business, March 16th, 2026, and the minutes of the special meeting held March 23rd, 2026.
I so move.
Second.
Are we doing those separately or as one motion?
I was going to do them as one motion.
Okay. Just verify.
Um,
Moved and seconded.
I have it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Do we need a minute?
I mentioned to Cindy that I think it's helpful to put the beginning time, just because 10 years down the line, somebody could be looking at these minutes and not know what time the meeting actually started. And especially if the videotape still exists, they might want to gauge it. And so I'm just suggesting that we make sure we put the time, starting time, but otherwise they are excellent minutes. I didn't.
And I overheard your conversation and put that in my special minutes, so.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. May we vote?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting March 16th and the special meeting March 23rd, 2026 as presented. Ms. Aslan,
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher,
Yes.
Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
and Ms. Redactor.
Correspondence. Does anybody have any correspondence they'd like to call out? You handed me something, Cindy. Did you not?
Yes, it's right, you just had it, had the purple, the pink underneath that, underneath your left hand. Second letter, second page down. Third page down.
Oh, yes. Okay. This is about neighbors of the old cemetery, the older section of the cemetery who live next door. And there are trees that risk, they're getting old, they risk falling. We respectfully request that the board arrange for professional and reputable arborists to assess this. And if they find anything to address it. And they're actually concerned about significant damage could happen to their house. I just don't know when these come in, who the buck stops with whom, like who handles this? And how do we handle it? Dan.
I'll contact him.
Dan, and then he's responsible to follow up with people.
He's responsible to follow up with the arborist. And then I assume when the time comes, they'll have a conversation, but
Okay,
I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Well, we could ask him to report back to a future meeting.
okay, so Chris is saying that he'll make sure Dan takes
Do
care
you
of
want
that.
the letter or?
I can make sure Dan gets it, and
Okay.
unless Chris, unless you wanted to do that directly.
I can.
Okay, any other correspondence? The sixth still says citizen concerns, it's more like, any items that citizens would like us to hear and consider for a future meeting?
I would like for the trustees to consider having these meetings live and on Facebook. Like I know Bath Township is doing that, I believe some others are doing it as well. But
Does the village do it?
the village
On YouTube.
does it live on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Right. From, when I talked with the gal from Bath Township, she said they just use a laptop computer. And if that's gonna be the only reason that you're not gonna do that, I'm happy to supply that. But I would like to, you guys, I think that right now, that people need to hear this live as it's happening throughout the whole village,
Township.
in township.
Okay, I'll put that on the agenda for March 4/20. April 20.
Okay, Dorothy? Oops, I'm sorry, I'm so used to. Dorothy has her hand up.
I heard you made the request, or I heard you, Lori, made the request to add the start time on the minutes.
Yeah.
I was gonna actually ask to put it on the agenda too, because I looked at the agenda and then I
Oh.
couldn't remember the start time.
That's,
And I had to go
exactly.
somewhere else to find the information, so
yeah,
if that could be done, that would be great. Thank you.
thank you. I think we can make that happen forthwith.
At this time, we'd like to open up, do we need a motion to open a public hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to open a public hearing for our zoning reform text amendments for 2020, the first half of our zoning text
Third.
amendments.
First, third.
Lindy's counting.
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion?
Been moved and seconded to open the public hearing for the first phase of presentation on the zoning resolution text amendments. Mr. Mutter,
Yes.
Ms. Aston,
yes.
Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
motion's approved.
And I'd like to ask that we go through, there are 6 amendments, are there, Brian?
7 today.
7. And let Brian present them and the trustees ask questions, and then please, citizens, maybe make notes after we're done with the presentation. He can go back to ones that you want to comment and have input on.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you trustees. This is the 15 text amendments that we have worked with regional planning. Michelle Hudnell is in the audience and may chime in if needed to answer questions that you may have. But these are 15 text amendments that we've talked about for a while. We used the Ohio grant. There was a grant that was produced by the state of Ohio that we partnered with regional planning to come up with these 15 different text amendments. So instead of trying to talk about all 15 of these at one time, we broke it up into 3 sections, which we've talked about before. So this is the first part of that, which we're covering 7 of them. So on the board right here is all 15 text amendments by title. Okay, the zoning commission sent these text amendments to regional planning on March 5th. We received regional planning's approval letter on March 25th, and a public hearing was held on April 2nd, in which the zoning commission voted to forward these text amendments to the trustees for approval. That's where we are now. And then this just breaks out the 3 different briefings. Today, on the April 3rd, will be those 7 that we're gonna talk about. And then the packet that you have in front of you, you have all the text amendments, all 15. And you also have Regional Planning's full commission recommendation letter. And you have the Zoning Commission's recommendation letter in front of you. And then I will provide you a proposed resolution. But I'll do that on May 7th. There's no sense giving it to you now, and we won't finish that until then.
Okay.
Is that part? Okay. I'm going to do my best to go through these. Several of these trustees you've already been briefed on. I think 5 of the 7 we had inadvertently ahead of time. I briefed some of these, but then we halted that, realizing that was kind of out of order. So some of these you have seen before. Oh, let that happen. Don't do that to me now. Oh goodness.
This happens.
Yeah. Couldn't have it at a worse time. I even practiced all of these. Okay. I will continue on. You have them in front of you. Hmm?
And what happened?
Oh.
I have no idea what.
It says no signal, so there's something with the,
Have we ever had,
Oh, I've had this happen before.
I know, but I'm wondering if we had somebody look at this?
No.
Okay. I just couldn't remember.
It's caught up and it's on number 1, which is the Sport HDMI number 1. So, I will continue to go forward with this. You have it in front of you. This will be fun. All right, so section 504 is architectural projections into required yards. Basically, we simplified what we had before and did it into 2 points. There's 504.1 and 504.2. The first one, 504.1, basically any chimneys, flues, and these are for a home that is right on that edge of the required front yard where what could stick out. So things can stick out basically 24 inches. So we took what we had in the past and just summarized it into, and made it just 24 inches, which is a lot simpler. Before we had it broken down into separate things, which I would have shown you on the board. The second point is anything that, if you have an unroofed porch, that you may have steps that stick out, that can go into like typically a front yard, but that can go extend into it up to 10 feet. So basically we took what we had before and summarized those 2 particular points into 24 inches sticking out and then a 10 feet steps that would proceed into a particular yard. Make sense?
How big is the setback for the required front yard setback?
I don't have it in front of me. I could look it up.
Oh, no, it's okay.
But basically, I mean, this isn't going to apply very often.
Right.
If somebody was on that edge, but yet had some projections that were sticking out into a side front or rear yard, but usually the front.
Here's another HDMI port. Do we use this one?
I've only ever used this one.
Oh, that did something, isn't
Would it make sense to take a break and move on to other agenda items while I mess with this in the background?
I think we should just go on.
Can we continue on?
Yeah.
I can do it. It's just harder when you don't see it, but you guys
I know.
have it in front of you and you're the ones that are going to approve this.
Well,
Do they have, does?
And all of these are online and they have been online.
Okay, so.
I just printed out one copy.
Can you tell where they're online in case people hear what they?
Sure. If you go to our website, it is under the tab zoning. And then as you drop down from zoning, it'll say zoning resolution. You click on that. And then you scroll down and it has all 15 of them right there.
as simple as an HDMI port.
Okay, continue on?
Yeah.
We'll see it. Working for my money today. Okay, switching this will do no good, so I will not do that. All right, the next one is 505, which is parking of recreational vehicles, trailers, and mobile homes. So what I did was highlighted some of the things that we have currently, and then the changes that we did make. So in the current one, under parking of recreational vehicles, trailers, and mobile homes, we really just had 3 things. And one said that recreational vehicles could only be parked in a rear yard in a residential district, that no wheels may be taken off except for maintenance. And if it's a mobile home, it has to be in a mobile home park. So that was all that we really had in regards to recreational vehicles, trailers, or anything in a yard or on a property. So what we've changed this to is, I know you don't have it up on the board, but 505.1, we talk about parking and storage of utility trailers, travel trailers, campers, boats, boat trailers, and recreational vehicles or similar type vehicles must adhere to the following. And the 4 points under there are, they must be 10 feet from a property line. That is one of those things that was changed from the,
Minimum.
yes.
Oh, so they can't be
From the
closer.
park, yeah, you don't want to park an RV right next to a neighbor. That's, so in a residential area, it must be at least 10 feet from that property line. And that was one of those, if you remember me mentioning before, when we had an open house, we had a resident that had a concern about that because we originally had it at 15 and we moved it to 10 to accommodate for that person. Well, to accommodate for the whole township, but because of them bringing that to our attention. It must be maintained in operational condition, and in residential districts shall limit it only to 2 such vehicles on the property unless they're stored in an enclosed garage. So anything that's enclosed, stored in an enclosed garage or other accessory structures, that is totally acceptable, but out in the open, it's only 2 in residential districts. And the 4th point, accessory vehicles that are located in the front yard must be parked on an improved surface, such as a driveway or a parking pad. That was something that we had added as well. The next one down is 505.2, and basically that one states that no residence, you can't have a residence inside a trailer, a mobile home, anything like that. It's only for recreational use and not for to live in. 505.3, this was the same as we had before. It basically states that vehicles cannot be removed except for repairs only, but you can't just put it up on blocks. 505.4 is the same as we had before. It talks about mobile homes must be in a licensed mobile home park. 505.5, this is something new. Outdoor storage and parking of construction equipment, such as backhoes, bulldozers, well rigs, and other similar construction equipment, shall not be permitted within a residential district. So it's still fine in an agricultural district, but not a residential district. And 505.6 talks about temporary emergency residence. So it can be authorized if there is a fire or some type of flooding or something that we can authorize. I can, from my position, authorize someone to live in an RV for a period of time. So this just explains that I have that, if there are special circumstances that are warranted, and then the applicant, it lists the things that the applicant must provide under B. That is that section right there. Under C, under B3, that a written statement must be accepted from the Greene County Health Department, approving their water supply and waste disposal of a temporary residence. And then the last point is point C. Such permit may be initiated or initially issued for a period of 1 year, and this permit is renewable in 6-month increments as a conditional use authorized by the Board of Zoning Appeals. So in other words, I can authorize it for 1 year. You know, hey, your house went down, you're gonna live here, we understand that, even though it's not a normal thing. We allow them to live there for a year, and if they need to increase that, then they would go in front of the BZA as a conditional use. Because it's, you know, what are the extenuating circumstances that cause this to be another 6 months? Okay, any questions about that one?
Questions or comments?
Well, either or. I'm presenting this to you guys to approve or not, so.
I guess since we are considering, I don't think it's been approved yet, that we have accessory dwelling on agricultural land now. What might be the reasons we wouldn't allow residents in an RV on agricultural land?
Well, what is authorized
For a mobile home.
as an authorized use, a permitted use, a single family dwelling is authorized in agriculture and residential. Accessory dwellings is one that you could approve. That would be a second home that you could put on there. But mobile homes would need to be restricted to only mobile home parks.
I
You
can
wanna add?
clarify,
Please.
in the accessory dwelling unit section that we hasn't gone over yet, the specification is that that secondary home needs to be permanently sited. It's not on wheels, it's not movable, as opposed to a mobile home or a van or a bus that somebody's turned into a tiny home, those are movable. So it's a lot harder for zoning to say this is the area where you're allowed to have it, this is the permitted
But
spot.
a mobile home that, let's say, took the wheels off and made a permanent foundation.
Then it would be permanently sited, it could be brought in as an accessory dwelling unit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could make that, but
A
not as.
pre-manufactured home cannot be zoned against in townships in Ohio,
Right,
but has the same rights as a single-family home or as an accessory
But
dwelling
if it
unit.
has wheels, it doesn't.
Then it wouldn't be a pre-manufactured permanently sited. Somebody could turn a mobile home into a permanently sited home, but they would need to put foundation and utilities correctly.
And water,
Yeah.
wastewater management. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
well, so it's the permanent siting that makes the mobile, I'm looking at the definition in our current zoning code. Is that definition the same?
It's for which
Have
one?
we changed mobile home definition
No,
at
we've
all?
changed no definitions
Okay.
yet.
Okay, and you're not necessarily planning to,
I don't believe it's needs changed.
yeah, cause it says, mobile home is a manufactured, relocatable residential unit providing complete independent living facilities for one family, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. A mobile home is not included in the definition of manufactured home, for that reason, I'm sure. And the removal of running gear shall not exempt a mobile home from this definition. But you're saying that if you remove the running gear and you somehow permanently site it,
In the very first line, you said the word that was key, mobile, that it's movable.
okay,
So once it's no longer movable, it would be permanently sited.
okay, so even though the removal of running gear doesn't exempt it, it's permanently citable. Does it kind of become a manufactured home at that point?
Yes.
Okay, okay, it's a little confusing, but I trust you.
Yeah, and we can discuss that when we talk about definitions, because that is one that's coming up soon that will be. But this is, what we're talking about right now is just for temporary residents,
Yeah.
if that was authorized.
Someone could, for example, take the wheels off and then put them right back on and move it, as opposed to building an
Right.
actual foundation. That's
Yeah.
a slightly different step. Having permanent utilities as opposed to just running a hose to a septic system is very different in terms of health and safety.
And is the primary concern about those residents is primarily health and safety?
That is what the
Is that-
township can regulate
Sure.
based on its health, safety, and general welfare.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which we rely on the health department to tell
Yeah.
us,
right,
to give, they're the experts that tell us that
okay,
is acceptable and that's not. Same with when you put in a septic system for a new home,
right,
we have to have that as part of the permit process.
thank you. I'll
Yeah.
try not to ask too many questions,
No,
but
that's fine.
it is helpful for me to learn, because I don't know this code as well as the village code.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the next one is section 506, which is swimming pools. And the biggest thing that I'll read this one a little bit different. As I go down each one of the steps, I'll tell you what we did previously with this
Yeah.
particular one and why we made the changes. So we separated a little bit better public swimming pools and private residential swimming pools. So under 506.1 is public swimming pools. They must meet the following requirements. Point A, shall be located at least 200 feet from all property lines. Previously, that was 400. So we kind of analyzed it a little bit better and didn't feel that 400 for a public pool needed to be that far away. Now, I realize we do not have any public pools in our township, but these are in place if that would ever happen. Point B, shall be completely enclosed in a building or if outdoors completely surrounded by a fence, wall, or other barrier to prevent entrance for children no less than 5 feet tall. The previous one, it didn't specify a height for public pool. It did for a residential, but it didn't have it for public. So we've now added that in. These are the kind of things that the zoning commission, with the help of regional planning, have kind of tweaked to make things whole and correct and legally sufficient. The next four We did not previously have any of these requirements in there, and so it is C, facility operators must have an established plan for parking of vehicles. D, signage must be in accordance with the restrictions established in Article 7. Point E, exterior lighting shall be angled whenever possible to avoid casting direct light onto other properties or any public street. And F, all public swimming pools are considered a conditional use and must obtain a conditional use from the township zoning inspector after a conditional use is granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Okay, that covers public. Now, 506.2 are private residential swimming pools. They shall follow the following requirements. A is intended, this is more of a definition, the pool is intended solely for the entertainment, the enjoyment of the occupants and the guests of the principal user of the property of which it is located. B talks about location. No swimming pool must be closer than 15 feet from any property line. Previously, that was set at 10 feet, but the zoning commission, they decided to move that to 15 feet from property lines. Point 2, pools may be placed in any front yard and are subject to the same side yard setbacks as any primary structure within the district.
That's interesting. Pool can be put in the front yard, but solar panels cannot. I don't worry about it.
No, I know what you're saying.
Sorry.
May not be.
Pools may not be placed in any, I'm sorry,
okay.
did I read that wrong? I'm really sorry.
Good catch.
I really hate not having this if you can't tell.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And
May
there
not
is
be
a-
placed in the front yard.
There's 2 inns there, and so clearly one of them needs to be removed, at some point.
Where are you at?
Pools may, in,
May not.
506
In
B,
front yard.
pools may not be placed
In any.
In any-
in a front yard.
Oh, in any, so in A needs taken out. So in any front yard.
No,
Yes.
in any, pools may not be placed in a front yard.
That will, we can, I think we can adapt that, yes, that shouldn't be.
Yes, they can make a motion, they make a motion to say, they approve
With-
these with all minor
Minor.
grammatical errors corrected.
Oh,
There you go.
So pools may not be placed in a front yard.
And are subject to the side yard setbacks of the primary structure. 5.3, swimming pools and aprons will be located within 20 feet of any, make sure I say that right, within 20 feet of any component of an on-site well or any component of an on-site waste septic system must provide written approval of the Green County Health Department. So this was a requirement that the health department uses, and it was never in our resolution, so we thought we would add it so that there's clarity.
They're the state and regulations that the health department follows, says that it cannot be within 10 feet. But where the edge of those systems is often unknown to residents. So we debated with the zoning commission about if it's within about 20 feet, then the health department needs to be conferred with to assure that it's not within that 10 feet.
Okay.
And then point C, the in-ground swimming pools, this is the same as we had before, basically requiring a fence or a wall 5 feet in height, maintaining good condition with a gate and a lock. And then point D talks about above ground pools. Before we didn't have this distinction in the resolution. Now we do. The above ground pools are required to have a ladder or steps that can be put up and lockable to prevent uncontrolled access to children, but no fence surrounding the pool is required. That's for an above ground pool. And then point E, above ground hot tubs, spas, cold plunge tanks, or similar above ground units smaller than 50 square feet with the appropriate cover shall not require a permit. And that was not addressed in the previous version. And then at the bottom, you have the 2 definitions of swimming pool for public and swimming pool for private residential. Those were just updated. Any questions about that? Okay, how we doing? Is it better or worse? I'm just kidding, it's worse. I'm dying up here. Okay, the next one is section 519, cemeteries. Previously, or currently, we have nothing in the resolution about cemeteries. Public cemeteries must adhere to the following provisions. So right now I'm under 519.1. The site proposed for a cemetery shall not interfere with existing or planned public streets in the vicinity, and it continues on. 519.2, all buildings, including but not limited to mausoleums and maintenance buildings, shall meet the front, side, and rear setbacks of the districts in which they are located. 519.3, all graves or burial lots shall be set back no less than 25 feet from any public right-of-way line. 519.4, all required yards shall be landscaped and maintained in good order in accordance with state and local regulations, and a plan for perpetual care of the grounds shall be required. 519.5, family cemeteries are exempt, and it basically lists the code there. So family cemeteries are exempt from zoning regulations. And then below that, you see the definition of public cemetery and family cemetery. And before, if you remember when I briefed, we had removed the part about it being a minimum of 10 acres. I know you guys had some concerns about that as trustees. We looked into that and that was taken out. We revised that, so that's not in there any longer. All right, any questions about cemeteries?
Well, plan for perpetual care of the grounds shall be required. That's a vague description. I guess,
Well, when it comes to cemeteries, that's at a minimum. I mean, what is required from that, especially if the township is running that particular one, would be how the trustees decide to do that.
okay.
All right, moving on. All right, 520 is the next one. It's 520, private airports, landing strips, and helipads. Previously or currently in our resolution, we just have grass landing strips as a conditional use in agriculture, but we don't define it. We don't have any other definitions or any further communications about that. So what the zoning commission put together is all airports and landing strips shall be in accordance with the following requirements. 520.1 talks about a private helicopter. In order to maintain safety of the occupants surrounding properties, all private helicopter landing areas shall be located a minimum of 1,000 feet away from adjacent properties, or a minimum of 500 feet. When screened by a wall, solid fence, mound, or evergreen planting, a minimum of 10 feet in height. To maintain the safety of the occupants and the surrounding properties, all such sites shall be approved by the Ohio Department of Transportation, Division of Aviation. 520.2 talks about private landing strips, shall be approved by the Ohio Department of Transportation, Division of Aviation, and shall be situated to not create a nuisance or hazard to residential dwellings or other structures within the vicinity. And 520.3, all aircraft must be used for the owner's personal use and not for commercial purposes. Aircraft used for agricultural purposes are exempt from this requirement. And then we added a definition of private landing strip. Any questions about that one? You guys were briefed on that one too before.
Yeah, I remember that one.
All right, now we're gonna get to two larger ones, which I am not going to read every piece of this, but I am gonna kind of summarize sections for you. So the next one is Article 6, parking, loading, and driveways. And this again was another one that was briefed to you guys a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
In section 601, the general requirements, all three of those points, 601.1, point 2, and point 3, all refer to business or industrial or recreational, and it just tells how they must account for those parking spaces. And the reason I'm not going to go into these one by one, it is pretty much laid out, very specific, but this is going to apply to our businesses, and we know that we basically have 2 businesses in our entire township right now, but this would be the parking spaces that would be required for those particular things. And then in section 602, our off-street parking design standards. This section was basically simplified and we added a chart. The BZA will apply when granting for a conditional use. So all of these in section 602, the off-street parking design standards, there's a lot of them. The first thing you see is that chart. And then each one of the sections that deal with access, paving, drainage, barriers, screening, access to trash containment, other uses within required parking areas, landscaping, visibility, marketing, maintenance, lighting, separation of right-of-way, signs, joint use facilities, and collective parking areas. Again, these are standards that will be used by the BZA if somebody is putting up a business and make sure they have the proper parking spaces for that particular business. Previously or currently in our resolution, we have bowling alley must have this many parking spaces. Pool hall must have it. I mean, it was very, very dated. All right, section 603, parking space requirements. The first one, 603.1, talks about residential. That is single family or two family. You have to have 2 units, 2 per unit. And you can use the driveway. So there has to be at least 2 parking spaces available. And usually your driveway covers that for a residential. And then it breaks down apartment, mobile home, and boarding house, if those would apply. That takes us to section 603.2, non-residential. Again, these are factors used by the BZA. It's basically the number of on-site parking spaces required for all uses not listed in 603.1 shall be determined by the Board of Zoning Appeals. In determining a minimum number of spaces, the BZA shall start with the formula of 1 parking space for every 1.5 persons listed on the facility's maximum occupancy. The BZA should also factor in the expected hours of operation, availability of local parking lots, and availability of on-street parking within the goal of preserving on-street parking for adjacent residential uses. Okay, section 604 are loading requirements. These did not change from the current. So I'm not going to go into each one of those 3 points. They're the same as we currently have. No change there. Section 605 is a new section because we didn't previously have driveways very well written, so that it was easier for residents to understand. So I will read these. 605.1, an approved permit from the Township Zoning Office is required prior to gaining access to roadways or the construction of a driveway. 605.2, written approval must be obtained by the appropriate road authority, so state roads, Department of Transportation, county roads, the Greene County Engineer's Office, and township roads is our own internal Dan, our supervisor for roads. We give that permission. And then under 605.3, for driveways that are connecting to township roads, the township road supervisor will determine if a culvert is required and what size culvert to be used. The driveway, and this is stuff that Dan was doing, it's just, it was never really written properly for residents to understand. Point B is the driveway shall be installed to the satisfaction of the road supervisor. And 605.4, no driveway shall be located within 10 feet of property line. 2 or more incidental uses may jointly provide or use a shared driveway that abuts or crosses all the way down, all the way approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. So any questions about parking, loading, or driveways?
Well, you made the comment that there's only 2 businesses in the township, like a Clementine and the Flower Place, and then the landscaping place next to it, and then there's Piper Orchards, and then there's Weird Pavilion, and then the Agraria.
Yes, we have, yes, I know.
I mean, are they
We
all
have very limited.
Are they all subject to this?
It falls, they fell under agritourism, which technically that should have been established during the BZA establishment of those. That was done prior to me.
They
but-
address parking, so.
Those would apply to businesses in the business and industrial district. If you have a current business like Piper Orchard that's in an agricultural district, they would fall under the agricultural requirements. And should have had parking standards set with their conditional approval for ag tourism.
Yeah. If that's how that
And
was
if
set
they're
up, which I'm sure it
existing,
was.
they're grandfathered in, but any future ones would need to follow those proper steps.
Okay.
I'm generally, I'm not keen on excessive parking requirements. I get, you don't, like, for me, a hotel requiring 2 parking places per unit, that seems excessive to me. Not that we have that many hotels, so I'm not too worried about it, but, 2 per bedroom for a dorm or rooming house, like, again, this is like that's a lot of parking. And the fact that we require it to all be asphalt or concrete. There's a lot of permeable pavers that are used that are actually kind of better in some circumstances. So, so this, to me, it strikes me as a little excessive in those two areas. I'm curious.
You have a comment
if
there? I
that-
don't know.
One of the reasons in, with the accessory vehicles, if you go back to that you've already discussed, with requiring people to park those accessory vehicles and trailers on a paved or improved surface, which improved would include something like those permeable bricks, but gravel, is that if, say something that's not used frequently leaks motor oil into the ground, you're not gonna see it when it's sitting in the grass. But you will see it when it is sitting on an improved surface much quicker. And that's an environmental concern that the township zoning code can use, that health, safety, and general welfare of the community to find a way to enforce that. Obviously, there's also the option for a variance if a business wanted to do gravel, if that was appropriate for their business and they could show that they had adequate drainage and were, watching for things like that, I would think they could go before the BZA and modify that parking plan.
It just says hard surface paved with asphalt or concrete. That seems.
And language like an
limited.
improved surface could be used like was used for accessory vehicles. The 2 per unit is pretty standard across the state of Ohio for
I know,
things like
but
that.
I do think it's excessive. There's a whole movement of, because it's like, then you're just looking at a business in the middle of a sea of parking.
And for businesses, you set it at 1.5 per occupancy as the starting
it's
point,
1.5 per
correct? So that
business.
if it's a business that isn't expected to have occupancy like that, then that's a starting point, they can go lower. If it's a business that's expected to have more.
Yeah.
Also, I think you obviously won't vote tonight to approve because we're gonna have to break these up. But I would still suggest that, and then I guess I would gladly take this to the zoning commission to relook at that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we'll still move forward
Yeah.
if you choose to.
Yeah,
But no, I like what you're saying. I don't think we really went down that road. I will say that it's written better now than it is
Oh, I'm
currently
sure.
Did you
because,
have every list?
yes,
Yeah.
we're the
I
ones
think
that
they
have.
listed
Yeah.
out every
bowling
single possible
alleys.
business that
Yes.
doesn't even exist and
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
parking requirements for each.
Yeah, so it was done in a way of thinking
Yeah,
along
yeah.
the same lines.
Yeah, and I appreciate.
But I think that's a good thing to go back and look at. It's gonna take some time, because obviously
Sure,
we got some
yeah,
others in the hopper
absolutely.
already. But
It's not like I'm gonna die on the hill, I just wanted
Sure.
to put that out there.
yeah, I'm with you. Okay, moving on to last one, Article 7.
If you don't mind, before you move on to signs.
Yeah.
Ms. Moyer, I have, the Ohio Revised Code section upon cemeteries, it'll talk about that perpetual care fund, if you wanna look at it. That's section 1721. Oh, yeah, get back to your notes. Ohio Revised Code section 1721.21 is the establishment of an endowment care trust. This is a requirement straight from the ORC, which is why it's included there in subsection B. It says no person shall operate or continue to operate any cemetery in this state unless an endowment care trust is established and maintained as required by the section, and then further details that.
Thank you.
I was gonna say the same thing. I'm just kidding.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
doing the legwork,
No,
looking
thank
it
you
up
very-
for
yeah.
us. That's one section
No,
of the
I
Ohio
appreciate it.
Revised Code we don't have memorized.
Yes. Okay, the last one is
Chris might.
Article 7, signs. This one is, compared to our current version, a lot of things that we had under signs were previous of the law in Ohio changing to where we can't regulate content, but we can regulate size, height, setbacks, things of that nature. So this one was a really good one to update because we basically had some things that needed to be updated. All right, so in Article 7, Section 707 is just the list of the intent and purpose, which is listed there. I'm not going to read that one. 702, unless you need me to.
You said 707, 701.
Yeah, 702 are the permit requirements. under 702.1. The erection or location of any sign within Miami Township shall require a zoning permit prior to posting unless otherwise specified within this article. And then the exceptions are right there under 702.2. Signs exempt from obtaining a zoning permit include signs that are required by law, ordinance, or government regulation, of course. B, signs that are erected for the purpose of traffic control, civil defense, or other particular public functions. C, signs that cannot be viewed or are not intended to be viewed from any street or other property. So in other words, you can put a sign in your backyard. It doesn't relate to the traffic and the roadway. Those would not be needed. Or signs you might be putting on a barn. Those are exempt. And then D, temporary signs as defined by 703 of this resolution, which is the next section. 703 are temporary and permanent signs. So 703.1, temporary signs are generally defined as a sign not permanently attached to the ground, wall, or building and intended for display for a limited period. 703.2, temporary signs shall be only erected for a period no more than 60 days in a 12-month period. So this would allow for sale signs, or I'm selling my vehicle, or that's just stakes in the ground. It's not a typical permanent sign. There are some townships that actually regulate temporary signs, which is kind of a mess. So I'm glad that we do not require that. 703.3, temporary signs do not require a zoning permit, but shall follow all of the size, location, and setback requirements within this article. So they don't need a permit, but they still can't be larger than a sign can be in a residential area or an agricultural district. 703.4, permanent signs are defined as any sign that is securely attached to the ground, wall, or building and intended for display for an unlimited, indefinite period. These signs shall be regulated, but any temporary messaging on a permanent sign will not be regulated. So in other words, the sign could have a message that is scrolling on it. The sign itself can be regulated by the size or the setback, but we can't regulate the content within. Okay, that takes us to section 704, which are general requirements. Previously, we had things that talked about security, proper lighting, that they can't block traffic, place only with authorization. So those were the things that were in the previous one or the current one. And a lot of these are very similar, but just worded differently. 704.1, all permanent signs shall be securely fashioned by posts or other substantial supports to effectively minimize danger to property or people. 704.2, lighting directed toward a sign shall be shielded so that it illuminates only the face of the sign and does not shine directly into the public right-of-way or adjacent property. 704.3, signs shall not prevent free ingress or free egress from any door, window, or fire escape. And 704.4, signs shall not be erected or located upon any property or building without the consent of the owner or authorized representative. So that's a way to let people know that people can't just put up signs unless they have authorization to do so. 705 are all the prohibitions. The first one there is the same as we currently have. The second one, 705.2, signs shall not be located in any road right-of-way. This is important because nothing should be in that right-of-way unless it's, the signs set up by speed limits and things like that are set up at a higher level than us. Signs in the right-of-way within a township may be taken down by township officials. That's an important piece, I think, to have in our resolution. 705.3, signs shall not obstruct free and clear visibility at intersections. And then 705.4 and .5 are similar to what we already have in the current resolution. 705.6, no sign shall be posted on any roof of any building. And 705.7, vehicles and trailers shall not be parked and used as a sign, rather partial or fully.
And then you can't live in it if you do that.
Yes, that is true. You cannot live in it either.
can't put them as signs.
All right, in our resolution previously, we had billboards prohibiting those, and legally in the state of Ohio, we cannot prohibit billboards, but which I'm about to show you, signs by district. So in each particular district, they have to meet size requirements. So if that billboard would meet that particular sign requirement, it would be authorized. But we can't just outright prohibit billboards. Correct? Or anything
Correct.
that he's fixed on that?
Billboards have to be allowed, in townships, anywhere where agriculture is allowed. And agriculture by state requirements is required to be allowed in any district within a township. So by nature, billboards must be allowed in every district.
Yeah. So that's just something to point out because in it, right now we have that are prohibited, that's not legally sufficient, just so you know. Okay, in section 706, signs by district. So these are all very similar, they were just updated. So we updated sizes and setbacks. So I'll go ahead and read through these. Agricultural district, sign shall not exceed 32 square feet per sign face. If poles or other support are used to elevate a sign, they shall not exceed 5 feet above the grade of the adjacent road. B, freestanding signs shall not exceed 10 feet in total height, including supports. Point C, there's a minimum of 2 permanent signs per lot. Point D, signs must be set back 15 feet from the front lot line or set back beyond the designated right-of-way, whichever is further. Sometimes right-of-ways might be longer or wider, like on state highways. Point E, signs must also be set back 25 feet from adjacent residential properties and 15 feet from any adjacent non-residential property lines. So that's very specific. Like I said, we had this stuff in there before, but just tweaked some sizes. We kind of really looked at it, measured the signs that we actually have in the township right now, and made those kind of decisions. All right, in residential districts, I'm going to hit the highlights instead of reading it verbatim like I just did for the other one. The size should be no larger than 16 feet, square feet, excuse me.
That's not very good.
Not exceed, it's not, and there was some communication about that, and this is what the zoning commission had decided. We did talk about allowing larger ones, just in residential.
Yeah.
We're talking residential now. And then 3 feet above the grade. Point B, 6 feet total height. Only 1 permanent sign per lot. Signs must be set back 15 feet from front lot lines and a minimum of 10 feet from adjacent property lines. And then in our business and industrial districts, signs shall not exceed 60 square feet, so much larger. 5 feet above the grade, 10 feet in total height, a maximum of 2 signs per lot. Signs must be set back 15 feet from the front lot line, set back beyond right-of-way, whichever is further, and then signs set back 10 feet from adjacent property lines and 25 feet from adjacent agricultural residential property lines.
And the only industrial district we had was,
Well, we have a couple. There's a vacant lot on East Enid, just north of town, north of the village.
and then this
And then, help me out, the business that's
CDE, or
68 and,
I don't know,
yeah,
68 and what?
and High Road.
That's
It's an
industrial.
industrial
Oh.
business, I can't think of it offhand. There's a
Oh, you mean?
brown wooden sign.
More speed,
Yes, more speed, thank you.
okay.
So yeah, very small industrial areas.
But the business district, of course, would be up behind that, yeah.
Business districts, we have,
where
where the motel is, and right next to that, obviously the water,
YSI.
yes. Yes, I can't remember their other name, but
And then across from this street. Not the CDE.
Is that industrial?
Or it's business, right? A business park,
no.
Where Cresco is?
where the marijuana company.
Cresco Lab?
It's not.
Yeah, but that's
Not
that's in the village. That's not
Oh,
in the
was that-
township.
I'm
It's
sorry,
right on the
was that-
line.
Yeah.
I think ours start where that property that has a church. That's where our line is
Of course it was.
for the township. All right, section 707 are special signs. This was an added section that we did not address before, but it basically talks about agricultural product signs being allowed, agricultural field crop advertising signs being allowed, and then future development signs. So if there was a development to go in, we basically broke out, the period not to exceed 60 days. Yeah, and that's basically the last one, 707.2. future development signs. So, I know this was painful, and I do apologize why that went down. It would have been much easier to flow and for everyone to understand, so I apologize for that.
So in the original code, I see that, political signs were listed as exempted from requiring a permit, and I didn't see political signs mentioned here, so can you tell me about
Yes.
that?
Because when, I don't know when it changed, but the ORC changed, basically stating that we cannot regulate a sign for content, but we can regulate for
Oh, okay.
size setbacks,
Okay,
overall height,
right, right,
which is a typical zoning thing.
right.
So because you can't, there's no reason to address it in there.
Right,
A
right,
political
right.
sign would be just like, I
Any
love
other sign.
something you wanna put in your yard. You can put, we can't regulate the words that you choose, but we can regulate the size, the setback, the illumination, whether it's a flashing sign, we can do those type of things.
So
You
the
can have
Jesus loves me, the Jesus loves me sign is just on the side of the building,
We cannot regulate
but
content.
it's gigantic.
We
I
can
love
reg- We can regulate size,
Oh, it's
yes.
on the,
It's
it's on
grandfathered.
the, but it's on the barn.
First Amendment speech would be protected and could not be regulated against regardless.
I mean, it's
It's
not a
the
sign because it's under the building, right?
Grandfather.
There's also the question of when is it art and when is it a sign?
Yeah.
And if you would
I
like
like
to
it.
be
I'm
the
not-
township that takes that to court.
No, no,
no,
we're not.
I love that
Please
sign,
do.
I love that sign. It's just when you mentioned something, it made me think. When Jesus loves me is bigger than 64 square feet, I think.
There was,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not Ohio Revised Code, it's case law that came out. There was a church that was given different sign regulations than the neighboring business, and they were allowed different things based on what they were putting on their signs, and that was determined to be by content, and the township lost that lawsuit. So it's definitely something, a lot of townships in Greene County had very outdated sign language that left them open to be sued. So this was to protect that and help protect the township and remove any content-based. Basically, Brian should be able to approve a sign permit without knowing what's going to be on that sign at all.
So,
I believe there's sometimes during heated political campaigns, a farmer will paint the whole side of his barn with somebody
Political.
And that's
That's
a sign.
political art.
Oh, it's art.
When is it hard?
I would say everything would be a case by case basis,
Yeah, I'm not
obviously
trying to
making a
trouble
general
with it.
statement,
You don't
but
need any-
painting of a barn is probably not, wouldn't fall under a
sign.
permanent sign that we could regulate by size. So that's the last one I have, Marilyn. If you want to open it up to public comments, I will stay up here.
Yeah, this
even though I
time-
can't reference the board.
If any of the public would like to comment on any of these articles. Fred?
Do you wish, well, I'm reading it online, so maybe it's not the same as what you have, but there's a misspelling in 505, dot 6, paragraph B, 3.
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay.
Keep going.
The second sentence says M-U-T, mutt, and I think you mean must.
Oh. Maybe we mean that. No, you're correct.
The other one was, Article 601,
That can be
but
correct.
it's 605.4, about driveways, and it says a driveway may not be within 10 feet of a property line. So my only question, just because I'm confused,
Uh-huh.
the driveway must go to the property line at the roadway, unless that's not part of the property line. But it has to go onto the road. You can't have a driveway without it going somewhere. So that was just a question. I know it's picayune and
I
it
know.
may not need to be addressed, but I'm gonna bring it
No
up.
driveway shall be located within 10 feet of a
Side or rear property line
side
is
or
what
rear
that should
property
say.
line.
Yeah, that would be a minor grammatical fix.
Side
There's
or
only been a good 2
rear.
dozen people that have looked at things.
property line.
That's the nature of proofreading.
That is very
Always
welcomed, and thank you. I got both of those down.
I do have a I'm sorry,
Oh, were you done, Fred?
I'm done, please.
Okay.
I do have a question about 505.1 that says that there should be a limit of 2 vehicles per property. I'm wondering if this would penalize families with kids that are in age of driving and that have their own vehicles.
These are only recreational utility vehicles, so boats, trailers,
Gotcha.
RVs, yes.
Yes, okay.
No, not personally driven vehicles. We're
Okay,
not
that makes a lot
regulating
more
that at
sense.
all. What we're really regulating are the larger things that
Yes.
would cause more of a conflict or a
Junkyard.
nuisance to a neighbor.
Okay, thank you.
And that's only in residential districts, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not our agricultural sections.
Any other comments or questions in this public hearing on our zoning amendments?
Under an hour.
Good work.
Okay, so I would say officially, and this is when I spoke to Jen Huber about how this may go, we were at the OTA conference. She said, for you as trustees, because this has to happen within 20 days, which it has, it was only last week, is to table the public hearing and then continue the public hearing on,
That makes
I'm
sense.
sorry, April 20th, I believe is the date.
Okay.
That way there's no real, you're not making a decision, but you're deciding, or you have to decide to table it,
Right,
the public hearing, and then continue the public hearing.
at this
If you
time,
choose to.
entertain a motion to table this public hearing to be continued in our next 2 meetings.
So,
Second.
yeah.
You got it, you got it.
Any further discussion?
Been moved and seconded to table the zoning amendment public hearing until the next 2 public meetings, trustee meetings. Ms. Aslam,
Yes.
Mr. Mutu,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
motion's approved. We're recessed at 6:03.
There's no further questions, I'm gonna take my leave. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
see
you
you
for
next time.
coming, we appreciate seeing you.
And the fire department report.
Yes, hello, everybody. First, I'll just run down through my list there. Staffing's going well. We're maintaining our 3 personnel 24/7. Nico Riviera, our co-op cadet, started today.
Oh.
He came in very positive and eager, and we've been keeping him busy and getting him some gear and teaching him the firehouse way. And so I'm pretty confident that's gonna work out very well. 289 runs year to date. Had a couple significant EMS runs this past week. Our community paramedic is continuing to be busy. She's averaging about 5 regular visits a week. Got another one coming on board tomorrow, and about 3 or 4 prospects in the coming weeks. So she's constantly on the phone and talking with people, and getting referrals on a regular basis, and that program, again, I'm confident it's going to be very successful. We started a new EMS quality assurance program where we pick out certain runs and we review the runs, and it's going to be a very good training process for us. As you know, we are governed to follow a protocol with all of our EMS actions, and that's why we have a medical director. And so anytime there is a question about a possible protocol procedure, then we're going to use that as a training, and we flag those runs and we review them with everybody, and it's very well accepted. As far as the building goes, the fire alarm system has been repaired, upgraded, and it's now fully functioning without making all kinds of noise on a regular basis. Still waiting on Buckeye Power Sales to get back to us on the generator. They did follow up and said they ordered some parts, and we are on their list to get scheduled as soon as the parts arrive. New chief's vehicle arrived ahead of schedule this week. It was supposed to be built later this week, but all of a sudden it arrived this week. So not very often we get stuff ahead of
Is that the one
schedule.
you took on the run this morning?
No, it doesn't have any, lights and sirens and stuff on it yet, so. It's red, that one we took on the run.
Oh,
is
yeah, it's a
white.
red one.
Pickup trucks being built this week, extrication equipment's being delivered in the middle of the month. And, more good news, we received 2 grants from the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. One for the, co-op program, which is gonna cover, his pay. And, I got another one for $6,000 for the community paramedic program.
Awesome.
So, buying different equipment and different stuff that we're using for that program is gonna come in handy. And I'd like to introduce to everybody our new logo. And we put together a group of people. I've had requests to potentially or change our logo, so I put together a committee of people, and they came up with this fine looking logo that kind of sets us apart from everybody else, from the other 7 or 8 Miami townships in Ohio. And so just wanted to show this to everybody, and you can get your blessing on it and move it forward. So it's got a lot of history in it. That was one thing that we requested. It shows our beautiful wilderness, our waterway, and still has the Antioch towers in the background. So that's our, I'll pass that around if anybody wants
We
to.
got it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
This is the color.
It's a prettier one here. It's
Yes,
a red
sir.
and gray. Little green on it.
Jim, I think it was very nice. Had a lot of work in it.
And so, other than that, things are going well with the fire department. So, thank you, everybody, for your support.
Any questions for the project, chief?
Briefly, any interest in the rescue truck to this point?
We just talked to a company that's going to put it up for sale, and they want to put it up for sale for a lot more money than I thought we would
Which truck
even
is
get
that?
out of it. So,
Which truck is that? Oh, the,
that's the equipment truck, the rescue truck.
Okay.
So it's not officially on the market yet, but that's next on our agenda. Actually, we're meeting with the gentleman on Wednesday.
I really like the EMS quality assurance stuff you're doing. In the past, I had worried about if we ever were any incidents happened, if they would check our training records and stuff. So this quality assurance thing that you're doing so much training on, that's all gonna be documented, so somebody can check our.
It's very important that we have something like that because we can't, we're not doctors. We're not blessed to just go out there and do things, and not everything's cut and dry. There's always gray areas and stuff like that. So, and the medical director is involved. We email back and forth, and she may see a run and she flags the run, and so we just, it's just a process to review.
But every time you do that, it's documented, so we can show a track record if we're training our people. Okay, good. The fire alarm system, I'm really glad to hear that it's fixed. Part of me doesn't believe it. But I'm still concerned about the generator might have been the original cause. And it
we are
still
too.
keeps tripping every Wednesday, and I know it's on a automatic and,
That's really high on our list.
so hopefully it won't affect.
And we are gonna get them here, and they're gonna stand there on Wednesday, and hopefully we're gonna get that resolved.
And hopefully it's not gonna damage the thing we just got.
No. It's lived through a couple Wednesday tests already,
And
so.
if you need me to assist in maybe pursuing an insurance claim on
Yeah,
a fire alarm system, I don't know if you have a case or not.
well, it's a surge.
Yeah.
We do have lightning in the area. So
Yeah. That's true.
I'll say that it wasn't.
Yeah, see, that wasn't, okay, we didn't appropriate any money from that, ambulance fund this year, but I see all these new things coming in,
Yes.
and we're good. We got them paid for within the budget, so we don't need to appropriate anything from there.
Yes,
Right?
with the extrication equipment coming, the middle of the month, we're gonna need, that's gonna be the first draw out of that account.
Okay,
So we're gonna have a purchase order, we're not gonna,
okay, So we do need to amend appropriations to take money, we have to talk then
Okay.
about that. Okay. Don't have to talk here. Anything further for the fire department?
I had a question from a resident, maybe I could talk with you either after
Okay.
the meeting or
I did research that.
you did,
We actually had another issue with the same
okay,
incident,
yeah,
and then, we looked into it.
okay. So maybe I can just talk with
Yeah,
you
oh
about
yeah,
that.
afterwards, yeah.
That would be great, thank you.
Dan is not here tonight for cemetery report. He's visiting his mother, who's not well at the moment. But Chris, you had something on the agenda for border plantings?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to push that back a meeting because Siebenthaler, who would provide the material, the plantings, haven't gotten back with me on their availability yet, so.
I don't know what these plantings are. I would expect we would maybe see what it is, or at least have a description that we can check out, and also
Well,
the
yeah,
cost,
it's
the cost, and also, like a budget for it.
It's the vicious circle. I didn't want to bring a recommendation if we couldn't get it. So I just want to be assured that it's available, and then I will bring a recommendation with
Okay,
pictures and songs.
and, budget list and, estimation of labor? For
The
the crew?
whole 9 yards.
Cool. And road report, Dan is also not here for the road report. Chris, I see you put an executive session. I don't know if you read my resolution for the pay raises, and wondered if you still required an executive session if you read it.
Well,
I mean, that could be a yes.
technically, obviously, we couldn't decide anything in executive session, but technically, we didn't go over the specific exact amounts and discuss them that are in the resolution. However, I'm perfectly fine with what's in the resolution the way it sits.
We had discussed it also during the permanent appropriations, and that's when we did it, so if you'll remember, we had heads up. Okay, is this Redwood 08?
So do we need the executive session or not?
Are you saying no?
No. Okay.
I believe this is resolution 808, 2026 08, is that?
You know,
Yes.
right.
Is it so? Okay. I would, entertain a motion to pass, to vote on, to approve resolution 2026-08, resolution to approve pay increases for the road department staff. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, I'm just trying to find this actual,
I tried to put it in order, but I can't get into it.
well, no, especially when I got my hands on it.
Um,
Won't be up there either.
For your motion in a second. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, was there a second? Was there a second? I missed it.
Yes, I
I'm
second
sorry,
that.
thank you. Thank you.
Whereas I'll read a little bit, whereas the Miami Township wishes to compensate roads department staff at a rate that is fair and competitive with current labor markets. And whereas the funds for these pay increases were provided in our 2026 permanent budget appropriations. Now therefore, I recommend. Pay raises as written. For a full-time road superintendent, full-time staff Brendan Morris, and part-time Ryan Foss. Any other discussion?
Ready to vote?
Hearing no more discussion, may we vote?
Been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2026-08, resolution to approve pay increases for the road department staff. Mr. Musher,
Yes.
Ms. Aslan,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
resolution is adopted.
Okay, fiscal officer report.
I have one thing on roads.
Okay.
Um,
On fiscal officer,
No, roads.
oh, roads, I'm sorry.
As everyone knows, we've been chasing this Harbison Road grant for a while, and I've had conflicting information as to whether it was approved or not. I contacted the director of the Ohio Public Works Commission in Columbus, and he went down through the ranks and then could communicate with me, which was kind of strange, but anyway. It appears that the grant, which was submitted to the Ohio Public Works Commission for the year 2026, at some point was reviewed and decided that it was better off submitted to the small government, the new small government grant program, and taken out of the major statewide Ohio Public Works Commission. Apparently, the new small government programs were decided in February and awarded sometime after that, I don't know. Well, unbeknownst to myself, to our road superintendent, to the director of whatever she is, Public Works, Sam Scarborough, now Malone, I think it is, at the Greene County Engineer's Office, who up to this point thought she was just waiting on an approval from the small government thing. Somebody, in their infinite wisdom, decided that the grant should be moved back from the small government into the main grant program for Ohio Public Works Commission in the state, and that process is continuing, and the recommendation for grants comes out May 6th, I believe it is, from that organization. And then they didn't say, it was recommended for approval, but by the nature of it saying that they thought it was, more likely to be approved at that level, or more, it was better to be approved at that level, it sounds as though it's still a go.
Or still possible.
Yeah, so it gets sent to whoever it is in May as a recommendation for approval, if that's the case. And then it gets, quote, funded the first week of July. Now, if you recall, the work was supposed to begin in the first week in July. And that gave me pause, thinking, well, maybe the whole thing got slipped back, into next year's main Ohio Public Works Commission lottery or whatever. And so I went back and I asked again, and they said, no, this is for this year. And so I checked with the engineers department, and they said, yeah, that's the way it happens, but we've done all the preliminary work on it, in order to submit it. And she says, yeah, it's tight, but if we get awarded, work should begin the beginning of July and finish early in November. So
that's a tight schedule, you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
but
Thanks
I
for
don't know, it
doing all that.
sounds encouraging.
Yeah.
At least I know where the thing is.
Yeah, that's good. To get some clarity.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have for roads.
Thanks a lot. Okay, fiscal officer report. Cindy's first report.
Drum roll, please.
Why I would, as trustee Moore brought forward the amendment to permanent appropriations, do you want me to present that, or do you care to?
I can do it. We approved our permanent appropriations. We're building complete budgets for every department, and so we're listing for the first time vendors and current expenses. And so I expect that we're gonna have to add some things that hadn't, anyway, that we had overlooked.
I can add to that, when in the process of transition, I found at least 2 accounts that we didn't even realize were available, that we needed to be using for certain contracted services like UAN, which is our accounting service for the state, for our quarterly fees. So I mean, that's something we're gonna have to be addressing in the near future.
Yeah, we're discovering things that, so, or is it an ongoing process to actively appropriate funds according to the needs of Miami Township? Now therefore, the trustees authorize amending the following appropriations for the general fund, increase line item 1,110,360, that's contracted service, increased by 5,000. And that's to account for the UAN, our auditing program that we subscribe to with the state auditor's office, right?
No, that's not for you, and that's for the auditor. That's for the auditor itself. I thought, okay, that's why I wanted you to present this, because you put it together, so you go ahead.
Yeah. No, we had appropriated for the auditor.
Okay.
I added, this was for so we can make the UAN payment.
We had multiple discussions, I apologize.
Not at all. And then we're also increasing our line item for travel and meeting expenses for extra training, extra conference this year, the local government conference, which is a very good one, by $1,000. I entertain a motion to,
Second.
hearing a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we vote?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2026-09, amendment of permanent appropriations as enumerated. Mr. Musher?
Yes.
Ms. Asplin?
Yep.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Resolution's adopted.
Before we move on, and I don't want to take any of your glory away from your first meeting, but I do want to take this time to publicly commend Trustee Moyer for her willingness to take on the unenviable task of diving deeply into township finances over particularly the past 2 years where, for lack of a better word, they have been challenging. For other years, in the past, they were challenging, but at least you knew it was more like a shot in the dark or a fishing expedition or you had some idea of what you were going to get in budgets and appropriations. But it's so much more satisfying to know that at this point, it appears as though we're at a place where we can budget and appropriate pretty much down to the penny and in the right place. We always were able to budget and get through a year in the black. We never were in the red in the past, but it was never really all that accurate where this money was going. We pretty much knew where it was coming from, but not so much where it was going. So anyway, that was my only comment.
Thank you. Awesome.
I would second that comment. Marilyn has been tireless in working on the budget and in calling in really excellent helpers, including Debbie Watson, who died recently. And I went to the funeral last Friday night. Or I didn't stay for the funeral, but I went to the visitation to the family. And she was just such an extraordinary person. And she, went through, we didn't have budget bank reconciliation statements for the last 18 months, 2 years.
About 18 months.
18 months, we didn't have any, so we were really kind of flying blind, not sure exactly how much money we had in the account. And she really went through that and also worked with Gina to kind of help get her more up to speed. So and was doing it while she was really fighting a big battle with her health.
What a sacrifice she made for our township.
She did, and
Yeah, she worked the entire holiday month of December.
she really did.
12 hours a day.
She was, I mean, it was a huge sacrifice. I think she's the kind of person who's very driven by and felt more alive because she was working on a challenging problem. But Gina also expressed her gratitude multiple times to Marilyn for bringing Debbie, and to Debbie for the work that she did for the village, so, or for the, I'm sorry, for the township. And now we also have Tina Bonecutter, who's been working with Cindy, and Cindy is doing so much training. I'm really grateful that for all the work that Cindy is doing with a very clear understanding of the sort of the gravity and all the where a lot of the potholes are that can trip people up. So really appreciate her being so proactive and going to all the trainings, doing the online training, which I hate doing online trainings, so doing a lot of those, and working with Tina Bonecutter. I also worked some with Debbie before she passed. So yeah, and Marilyn has really been the linchpin making all of that move forward.
You're welcome. Did we vote?
I don't think we did. I think that was discussion.
No, we did vote on that, we voted,
Oh, did we?
yes,
Oh, okay.
we have moved on.
I already signed it.
No, I would, I can only say the transition has been, or continues to be challenging, but I got a lot of training with Gina before she left. I did work with Debbie shortly. Tina has been in the office with me a couple days, and she's remained on call. There are lots and lots of online resources. I spend more time watching videos than I care to admit to because I don't like videos. But we are making progress, and I look forward to continue helping the trustees have good numbers to make their decisions on. And to that end, you'll find in the packets, this is the payment listing, which replaces the previously used somewhat ambiguous numbers. You will see that the expenditures since the last meeting totaled $89,423.67. That lays them off. This includes payroll, includes all our various contractors, all sorts of things. It's in the packet, it's online. If anyone has questions on any of it, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to go over that. And this is something that by appropriation and by signature on the checks and EFTs, the trustees have given their approval to payment. So I'm not just going out and doing these on my own.
Okay. Not bringing it? Alrighty.
To that, and then one more thing, this is for the trustees, I emailed these to you. There are additional reports recommended by the Ohio Township Association and UAN that the trustees be provided with every month. I do not put these all in the packet because there are pages and pages of them. They are always available to the public if someone wants to see them, if they want copies. There is the bank reconciliation summary, the payment listing, which I just shared, a fund status, appropriation status, and revenue status. And what they also recommend is that each of you will then sign this saying that yes, you got them and approved, and these will go in the permanent files for the auditor. So they will be on the table, but there are other things that you get to sign, so I hope you brought your hand muscles with you.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
The final thing that I have, and I did not write this up, I probably should have, just again, in the process of transition, I emailed the trustees asking if I could rearrange the office. And because of some issues that were brought to my attention, I figured it was better if we actually discuss it for a moment. We have a large conference table opposite this wall, which takes up an enormous amount of room in what is a very small room anyways. I wanna replace that with a smaller table that zoning department is kindly offered to swap out for. That will still hold the copier and give us some workspace, but will free up some floor space. As long as the trustees are all in accord, because it's a shared office, I'm not just gonna make these command decisions. And then Chris, can you give me some history on that safe? I'm assuming it was probably original for a long time ago.
It's been here, yeah, forever, and it has been in its condition, as long as I've been here. A prior, trustee, who was a jeweler, so was good working with stuff, felt he could redo the latch system, but it never happened.
We have a wonderful old, tall floor safe that instead of a lock has a rope handle, which unfortunately is not particularly secure. I have since, we have ordered and put in a locking lateral file where I can lock up personnel files and necessary things. And again, in the interest of floor space in the office, I would like to move that, but I don't know, number one, how we would move it, or where to.
Not easily.
I can imagine.
I imagine an appliance
But
dolly,
if it's,
maybe with some
again, if
help
it's
from
something.
firefighters.
Yeah, but again, if it's something the trustees are okay with, we can look into making that happen, but I didn't want to, because it's a piece of history too, I don't want to just.
Obviously, it's not secure, however, in the unimaginable event of a fire,
Fire
if the
station.
door is closed, which it is normally, it would be pretty darn fireproof.
Even if not secure,
Yeah.
locked? Okay, okay. That wasn't a consideration, I assumed if it wasn't locked, securely locked, closed, it wouldn't have the fire resistance.
It wouldn't have.
Fire marshal, what do you say?
Wouldn't
Fire marshal, what do you?
What if anybody knows about that?
100%, obviously, but,
But better than,
right, better than
Okay.
just sitting in a filing cabinet.
okay, well, that's something, we don't need to go into any further
Okay,
here, I just,
reconsider.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but moving the table is okay?
I will
with
say, as
everyone?
far as I'm concerned, do
Thank you.
what you need to do,
Um,
but I'm a newbie.
I actually was ordered for my mother a small file that is fireproof. I mean, how many things do we have?
Well, personnel files are supposed to carry lock and key.
Mhm.
And then we always have, checks and those kind of things. So it's something we'll continue to explore then. Thank you. I won't take up any.
But you're not attached to that old table, Chris, on the other side of this wall?
Was that the old trustees table?
Well, yeah.
You know?
That's what was in the old building, and we
Mhm.
said it,
Mhm.
couldn't see our legs.
Okay. Anyways, thank you. I'm
Okay,
continue.
But back then, just to be
Yeah.
historic, there were no desks for trustees or zoning people. And so that large table had chairs that we would sit at, during meetings and whatever, because there was no round table, that was an old fire table. So that's,
Communal workspace, basically.
yeah, which is not really, not needed at this time.
Okay, thank you. I always like to know the history of things. Thank you.
okay. Anything more for fiscal officer?
No.
Zoning administrator.
I'm on the clock again. All right, this will be much quicker. 2 permits issued, both for accessory structures, one on State Route 343 and one agricultural exemption on Wilberforce Clippers.
And we just now allowed accessory structure.
No, we've always had an accessory structure. You're thinking of
Oh,
accessory
dwelling,
dwelling, that's
okay.
down
I
the
thought
road
they-
and
I
not
thought they
for-
got the news and they put it.
Yeah, no. These are just a
Okay.
detached garage and a barn. The other stuff about the zoning commission, I'm not gonna go through that because that's basically the layout of where we're flowing with the Ohio grant. The last one I would like to point out, the last bullet comment under zoning commission, we did have that presentation the previous month from RWE Clean Energy. And again, this was just a sample of a presentation that they have talked to a resident that would like to have this project, even though we don't allow this in the township, but we still allowed to go forward. I did speak to the zoning commission, we did a follow-up on that, and they did agree to look again at small solar for distribution as adding to the resolution. But it's gonna be, down the road. It wasn't an immediate goal of theirs.
And
So-
maybe this could be used as a real life example, to imagine what this small solar.
Sure, that was kind of the idea. So just so everyone is clear, the meeting, there was a presentation, but it was just to get information. If this is ever added to the zoning resolution by your approval, then anyone out after that could present a project. So they're not trying to approve or disapprove a project. They were just listening to a presentation, but they are willing to look into it again. So just want to let you know.
Great.
Do the people who wanted the project plan to pursue it, or you wouldn't know?
Well, I haven't reached back out to him because this was just last Thursday, but I'll reach back out to the gentleman that presented it, just let them know that it down the road, it will be months, probably down the road, that we'll entertain looking at it again, but again, he was brought in under the pretense of it's not allowed in our township, but we'd like to listen to what you have to say. Just want to let you know.
Okay, thank you,
That's
Brian.
it, thanks.
I did notice that there one ongoing project in Ohio.
Of these people.
Yeah, it's up in Amish country or somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's not small, it's like 800 acres.
Yeah.
And that's the only one in Ohio. And they've got lots of them around the country, but nothing of a size that sounded like you heard a presentation for.
Yeah, this was, I forget the size, but
30
again,
acres, I think.
yeah, something like 30 or
Yeah.
40 or not.
Good
Yeah,
call.
it was like
Yeah.
a third of the property.
Which is a big project or small project, depends on perspective, but I guess if you're a neighbor, that would be a large project. But again, I just wanted to let you know that there will be some discussion happening down the road with the zoning department again. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Sure.
No business, onto new business. Lori had some special meeting announcement, agenda distribution.
Oh, yeah, well, and I did, speak to Cindy after I wrote an email to everyone saying, I wanted to be clear that, as trustees, we should definitely be including special meetings in the announcement and pre-distribution of agenda to anybody who wants, our agendas. Because that wasn't always, I think the trustees hadn't been clear at the start, and so when I was running for office, there were special meetings that happened that I only found out about after the fact because there wasn't a distribution list. And Cindy told me, oh, I actually have, I've just done that because she knew I was concerned about not having that. So but I think it would be good for us to at least have a brief discussion. And to make that a formal request so that it's been publicly made that the fiscal officer or their delegate include in special meetings in the normal announcement and pre-distribution list to the public. And I would like this to happen. I had ideas about the scheduling, making sure that they be announced not only on the website, but sent to those who've requested them at the soonest possible moment during normal business hours prior to the meeting, even if the email is sent on the same day. Sometimes we do have, emergency meetings can be called 24 hours in advance.
Special
and
meetings.
Special meetings. Special meetings can be called 24 hours in advance.
Emergency meetings do not require any prior notification.
Okay,
But it has to be emergency.
but it has to be an emergency. In a special meeting, you have to have a very specific agenda and you have to only talk about what is on that agenda. So if emergency meeting would ever be called and held outside of normal business hours, that the notification be sent on the first business day after such a meeting. But I would hope that would never really happen, but that the notification should happen. It should happen. The fiscal officer or their delegate shouldn't be expected to come out on a Sunday night and send out a notification, but it should happen as soon as possible during business hours, and whenever possible prior to the meeting.
I would add that anyone who anyone in the public who cares to be on that distribution list just needs to contact me here at the office, either phone or email, and I'll add you to the list.
So I guess I'll make that a motion. That,
Sure.
A second.
To be clear, motion has been moved and seconded to notify the public by website and lists of any special meeting as soon as possible.
during business hours,
During business hours.
normal business hours.
Is that with or without a potential agenda for the meeting?
If it's a special meeting, there has to be an agenda and it has to be specified what's going to be discussed. You can't discuss anything that's not on that agenda.
Is that in your motion?
That's the law.
Well, that's
That's the
in the
law.
law, I think. So,
Okay.
It made it into my notes,
So-
so, yeah, it was specified.
What's in it? Can the agenda be, we're going to meet because we need to just state what thing we have to do, or is it agenda an official?
If I'm doing it, it'll be the formal agenda packet. I mean, if I do an agenda page, that's, okay, I mean, that's just.
Okay, just easy to
what I
crack
can
out,
figure
easy to
out,
crack out.
it'll always be to do some kind of specific act or, have some specific discussion.
Okay. So then, yes, it will include the agenda, so. It's been moved and seconded, any further discussion? Anybody in the public?
Because, normally on special meetings, there isn't, Cindy isn't here, and I'm assuming that's gonna be.
I'm here if the trustees ask me, but they generally do not.
Okay, to take minutes. Is there any reason why we can't have those videotaped?
There is no reason that I can think of.
That would be, I think that the township and the village would be grateful that if we don't have minutes, at least we could have a videotape so we could.
Well, you'll have minutes, because that's also the law.
Right, but Cindy doesn't conduct it.
She doesn't, but we usually take our own minutes, but yes, we could definitely, and I think we probably should have our special meetings videotaped.
Great, thank you.
Actually, a local government cannot allow or disallow recording. Anybody can come and record it. They can, someone could be there and live stream it here, and as long as they're not disrupting the meeting,
That's
you
right.
did not have any ground to prevent that. So I think that what Gillian may be asking is for you guys to organize your own recording.
Yeah,
But private citizens could come and record, and you would not have any
That's
power over
That's right.
that.
And they could live stream it.
They could live stream it, yes.
Brian, not yours.
I can't do the projector that would.
Okay.
Here we go.
Maybe
Should
we
we
vote.
vote? It's been moved and seconded. I'll clean up the wording. It's been moved and seconded to require fiscal officer or designee to publicize on the website and through the distribution list at the soonest possible moment, special meetings and agendas as they might be called. Ms. Asplin,
yes.
Mr. Mutcher,
Yes.
Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
motion is approved.
Next item on the agenda, resolution to allow donated trees to be planted on the berm between Miami Township Fire Station property and the Cascades. Cascades being the new housing development next to us.
Yes,
Um,
yes, we were approached by Yellow Springs Home Inc. And they have been working with the tree committee to plant the trees so it's kind of an after the fact resolution, but the trees were coming in and they needed to be planted, and we discussed, did we discuss it? Or at any rate, I put together I was trying to remember if we discussed it at a meeting. I think I just did a for information email saying, this is happening and I'm gonna bring this resolution. Time was of the essence, so, this resolution just indicates that they could encroach on our property in order to get good sighting for the trees, but that the trees would remain the owned and responsibility of the Yellow Springs Home Inc. Yeah.
And would this be, resolution 10, Cindy?
Yes, 2026 10.
Okay.
All right.
I make a motion that we,
Sorry.
no, that's all right. Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2026-10 to allow donated trees to be planted. You hear your
Okay,
motion,
Tom?
hear your motion, second. Any further discussion? None from the trustees.
I just wanted to ask if these trees will grow to interfere with the egress or ingress of the fire department apparatus.
We did check with them right away.
And also, fall on parking lots and things. I was concerned about, planting mighty oaks or what have you, but the trees, I trust the tree committee of Yellow Springs. And I heard by rumor by one of the residents that they're planting red buds. I can't confirm that, but that's my hope. It's
I've
one
been
of my-
meaning to walk out there and look at the
Oh,
tags.
it's planted?
Oh, I think so.
They're all planted.
They're
Are
all,
they
I think
red
showed
buds?
today.
yes.
Yes, there are red buds.
Did you know they were planted by, Brian?
I
Okay.
just want to see who votes against it. That's all I was waiting on.
I was thinking about, I hope you brought your shovel with you.
I didn't think of that. May we vote?
Somebody do it. Somebody do it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2026 10 to allow donated trees to be planted on the berm between the fire station property and the Cascades. Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher,
Yes.
Ms. Aston,
Yes.
resolution's adopted.
So happy about them.
Yeah.
All right, next order of business. I flipped the last two ones because one kind of comes before the other. This one is a resolution to discontinue the reimbursement for healthcare premiums for elected officials choosing to opt out of Miami Township Group Healthcare Plan. I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Any second? I shall second.
I have a question. What's the effective date of this?
My original plan had an effective date in it. Meaning how far would we go back? I would say,
It's a resolution, so.
yeah,
Resolutions generally go into effect 30 days after passing unless it's passed as an emergency.
well, that's, and I had thought of that, that's a tricky question. Originally, I had like November of 2025 when we first received, when we first were made aware of the, being out of compliance with the state and federal law and our reimbursements, so. I didn't put November 1st because, there were multiple conversations, I couldn't nail down a date. In my mind, it would be, since we're out of compliance on ever having been able to reimburse, that there is no legal authority for us to, there's no legal authority for us to reimburse any, even the ones that have been submitted. I'm sorry to say.
Well, potentially, our next item on the agenda may or may not clarify that. I'm not sure why we are passing this when we don't have the answer to that, which we haven't approved yet, but
And I was seeing it the opposite way. Well, three of them. Well, do any of the trustees request a reading of the
Well, I think it might be
resolution.
helpful to read the resolution. Because I suspect this may not be clear to the residents, the citizens of the town, of the township.
Lori, would you, with your best English professor projected voice?
Is there a
read
motion
it?
to that, is there a motion to that effect?
A motion to read the,
My understanding of the ORC is resolutions are to be presented by title only unless there is a motion requesting otherwise. I'm willing to be corrected on that, but that's my reading.
I can so move.
I'll second.
Okay. So you want me to read
We
it?
have to vote. Moved and seconded to
Oh.
read the resolution proposed to resolution 2026-11 in its entirety. Ms. Aslam,
Yes.
Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher.
Sure.
Okay, so resolution to discontinue the reimbursement for healthcare premiums for elected officials choosing to opt out of the Miami Township Group Healthcare Plan. Whereas the Miami Township Board of Trustees has been advised that the township's practice of reimbursement for healthcare premiums for elected officials not participating in the township's group plan is not currently in compliance with state and federal law. And whereas a township resolution is required to authorize insurance reimbursement payments and no such resolution exists, therefore healthcare premium reimbursement has not been authorized by the Board of Trustees. And whereas the required resolution mentioned above must define the specific legal, financial, and procedural parameters, including a uniform maximum payment amount, specific benefits covered, and other parameters consistent with the Ohio Revised Code and IRS guidelines. And whereas a premium reimbursement plan for public officials must by law be offered to all employees and officials, yet there does not exist a written township policy in which employees or elected officials are made aware of the existence of healthcare reimbursement as an option. Now therefore, the Miami Township Board of Trustees, Greene County, Ohio, resolved that Section 1, the Miami Township Board of Trustees shall discontinue the practice of reimbursement of healthcare premium for individuals who opt out of the township's group plan. Section 2, the Miami Township Board of Trustees will, with due diligence, engage the Council of Healthcare Insurance Benefit Compliance Professionals and Tax and Payroll Professionals to pursue the possibility of a healthcare premium reimbursement policy that is consistent with state and federal laws.
Is this approved by the county prosecutor?
The language of this resolution, is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
No. Must it be?
I don't see how we can pass a resolution that is codifying tremendous amounts of information and requirements and legal stuff without approval of the county prosecutor.
This resolution is not codifying anything. It is stating that we're not in compliance with the state laws.
And federal.
I don't have counsel with me, but it certainly is, everything in prior is absolutely 100% with state laws. Federal laws, that's a question that I'm hoping to get to with our next item, our next agenda item, which personally I think should be submitted and decided and presented to us before we make a resolution such as this.
That may be, the ways that it's not in compliance is that, first of all, unfortunately, it was not put into a resolution that was ever passed as far as I've been able to find. Also, to have an opt-out reimbursement program, it has to be a policy that's offered to everyone in the agency, in the organization.
I understand.
So that's not in compliance. And then that has to be approved by a board. You have to set things like how much are you willing to reimburse? Do you have to sign a waiver? What are the rules? Does somebody can take the reimbursement, say, I don't need insurance, or do they have to sign a waiver that says they're gonna get insurance? Does it include spouses? There's just a whole list of parameters that should have been set out in a resolution.
How could you get reimbursement without submitting to the fiscal officer an invoice for medical insurance?
I've not seen a resolution, I've seen an invoice or anything in that, to that respect.
Well, I've submitted them every single time that I've been reimbursed.
I've
Well,
only
that's not at issue. At issue is we have no parameters. Is there a maximum amount? Must it be just the main, policy? Are supplemental policies allowed?
I believe that personnel policy or somewhere in our little records says that it cannot exceed what the premium is for all employees and cannot exceed,
Well, the state law says it can't exceed the average paid,
okay,
but it was never offered to anyone else. It wasn't ever offered agency-wide. And I don't think it's good enough to say cannot exceed. There are maximums. And that we have been playing supplemental policy too, that was never approved. So in my mind, the board never approved this. That does actually, I didn't check the employee manual, but, for example, when new employees come, we say, would you like to be in the group health insurance, or would you like to opt out and have, find your own and have your own premium? That's not something that, is a practice or a written policy here. I think Cindy's gone to check the personnel manual, hopefully.
Which is one of our goals, is to update the personnel manual and get it, get all the updates and everything into one place.
We have been advised that if we wanted to do an opt-out, first of all, we'd have to figure out if it's wise to do that, to allow everyone to opt out, because that could have repercussions of its own. And then secondly, I forgot.
In the personnel manual dated revised March 2022 under insurance benefits, 9.3 insurance states after successful completion of the probationary period, all regular full-time employees are covered by the group medical and life insurance program provided for employees of the township unless the employees opt not to accept the coverage because of coverage under another policy. This includes group medical insurance for employees and dependents, hospitalization, major medical with full miscellaneous, and life insurance.
Does it say public officials?
public
All
officials are
regular
employees.
full-time employees,
Well-
whatever that definition would be.
The opt-out does not mean
Does not say anything
reimbursement.
about, does not say
Doesn't say
anything
anything about reimbursement
Does
for
not.
an opt-out. It just says you can.
Because you're covered by.
If you already have a different policy, then you do not have to accept the policy. But it doesn't say anything about reimbursement.
Well, I don't want to get into the weeds with this. If you put an effective date of when the resolution is effective, that's fine with me.
Well,
I have no problem with that.
the resolution
The
The
effective
resolution
date.
will be effective until 30 days, because that's what happens. But I could put an effective date in there. In my mind, if it was never lawful to do this, it never was lawful to do this. So how could we retroactively put in a date so that someone could be reimbursed? If it was not, it's not, in my legal it's not a legal reimbursement. And when we didn't know that, but now we do. So I wish it weren't so, because it's actually a very cost-saving measure. It could be, since we have many people eligible for Medicare in our organization, I wish it were, we weren't going through this. I'm not trying to rid us of this, I'm just realizing that we're not compliant with the law. And what
So
you,
I
go ahead.
just want to make sure that, I mean, this is the way we've operated for the last 20, 25 years. And that prior former trustee Lamar Spracklin, former trustee Mark Crockett, former trustee Don Hollister, and myself have participated in this consistently for the last 20 to 25 years, depending upon which person it was and, you know, and their particular age. You're not saying you want to try and recover all of their contributions, is that correct?
I am not the Attorney General. I don't recover anything from anyone. I don't have the power nor the interest in recovering. That's not the job of an elected official.
What's the difference between that and the fiscal officer refusing to reimburse me approximately $6,700 worth of medical insurance for my family since the first of the year, clawing back totally to 2025? I mean, we can add this to the discussion for the next point, but you know, I would have had to have been notified, and keep in mind, I had zero notification of any of this until the current fiscal officer told me I was not going to be repaid for any reimbursements.
That was not me.
I meant the current at the time.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The,
And I just got stop there for a second. And I know where I am. Had I been notified that this was potentially not allowed, it would have had to been prior to May of 2024, because there was no way I could have gotten out of, well, I could have gotten out of the Medicare, but there's no way I could have gotten into our plan, our township plan, until the open enrollment period, which today is, don't shake your head.
That's not true.
That is true.
No,
I'm afraid it's not.
that is not true.
Life events.
Life events
allow-
allows you to.
I've spoken with our insurance broker multiple times, and she has told me that May 1st is the open enrollment period.
If you have
And
a
I cannot-
life-altering
and I-
event by law, it allows you to, you then qualify to be able to get other insurance.
Well, somebody's gonna have to tell ARC benefits, because they told me that's absolutely not the case.
You
That
did
it's May,
wrong.
that it's May when our open enrollment is. So anyway, my point being that had I known in 2024, I could have made that change at least prior to May, instead of having to just, you know, merely go on my way and pay the insurance for my family, because I assumed all the other people in the township were getting their insurance paid, and why wouldn't I then? However, had I been told, I could have made a decision to go onto our plan. No one told me until approximately January of this year, when our then fiscal officer said that I was not going to be reimbursed for any medical expenses. And to this point, we're up to about $6,700 worth of my out-of-pocket for my family's medical expenses. And she referred to a recommendation from an assistant county prosecutor who very, very, very openly said he had no idea whether it really was truly legal or not because of the complexity of the IRS code. But he said, you know, to err on the side of caution to withhold these reimbursements until the matter was sorted out. And I'm getting, now this comes to my point of the agenda that I have been in discussion with David Hayes, our elected county prosecutor, who has offered to take on the project of seeing to what any options may be available. And he, you know, he certainly didn't go into any detail about me being reimbursed for my family's medical expenses up to the point where I can change out of it May 1st. And, you know, if you recall, his opinion that was issued a week or two ago, I guess it was, a nice 7-page opinion that had lots of legalese in it, but the very last line is, please consult your tax professional and your benefits provider. I don't know if have we got a tax professional that we've consulted for this?
There is a,
You can't imagine the number of hours I have into this, Chris. You just can't imagine the number of hours I have into this.
Well, can you imagine the $6,750 out of my pocket that I have into this?
I'm sorry it wasn't set up
Would
right
you,
10
would
years
you,
ago.
would you write a check to the township for $6,750?
I'm sorry that it wasn't set up properly. 10 years
That's
ago.
probably a no. That's probably a no.
This is the way I see it.
Okay, just let me finish one line. He said that if the board agreed, he would take on the job of looking for these options. I'm asking the board to.
Oh, he didn't say that.
Yes, he did. He most certainly did.
You mean in your last communication with him?
Yeah.
This is how I read it. And we weren't really supposed to discuss the legal opinion, but here it is. They said they didn't recommend, first of all, going back to the beginning, they said, this is multi-layered. Stop reimbursement until we get this figured out. What they figured out is that we weren't in compliance. They suggested that we not. But if we did want to go forward, if there's a path forward, they consider that we consult both health professional compliance people and tax professionals, right? That's where we are, and that's what I'm trying to.
No, that's not where we are.
That's where we're.
That's the they that you keep referring to in that opinion. I'm referring to conversation with David Hayes, our elected county prosecutor, who made the offer to personally look into what options might be available for reimbursement.
I read from that he was going to give you a legal opinion on whether you could get reimbursed for what you paid so far this year. That's how I read it. There is no way David Hayes is looking into negotiating our healthcare and planning.
No,
In
no,
fact,
no.
he
This is-
explicitly said he wouldn't.
No, this has got nothing to do with that. This is only for me being reimbursed from Miami Township for my family's medical insurance.
Up to this point.
Up to this point, yes.
Yes, he's willing to do that,
Yes.
and I have no problem with that.
Okay, well, that takes care of that. Thank you very much. I
Yeah,
will let him know.
hold on.
Now, back to your resolution, I'm more than willing, if it's set, the date is set when the resolution becomes effective, I'm certainly in favor of that.
Well, to me, the
Or not opposed.
resolution date is a moot point now. This is like, we're not gonna continue on the path we've been on, because we can't, because it's not legal. That's what this resolution is for.
I understand that.
Then your motion would be, but what about what I've lost so far this year?
No, that is entirely separate. Nothing to do with this resolution.
Right. So
Right.
that- Yeah.
And so, right, it's entirely separate. You would say, what about what I've not been paid to date this year?
Not in regards to this resolution.
So
That
why
was,
don't we vote on this resolution and then we'll discuss.
well, we just agreed to let David Hayes look at it.
Well, we didn't vote on anything.
Well, there's no,
Let's vote on the resolution and then cause I am also a little confused about exactly what is being requested for that. So let's vote on this resolution and then we'll turn to Chris's request, to talk to David Hayes.
I would entertain the adoption of resolution 2020, did we already move in second?
Yes, we did.
It has been moved and seconded.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2026-11 to discontinue the reimbursement for healthcare premiums for elected officials choosing to opt out of the Miami Township Group Healthcare Plan.
Effective what date?
Resolutions take effect 30 days after they go into effect.
Okay, that's in the
And
minutes.
I would like to add to that we had, well, it's in the resolution, I don't have anything, that we intend to pursue a possibility for the future, but okay,
That's in section 2 of the
right, of the resolution.
resolution.
Okay, and we vote?
Ms. Aston,
Yes.
Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher,
Yes.
the resolution is adopted.
Okay, I would entertain a motion. Let me say this right. I would entertain a motion that the board request a legal opinion, and I don't know if this is right, because you have it in your head and I have it in mine, a legal opinion of whether or not trustee Mutcher can be reimbursed for the health insurance expenses he's had thus far. How do I say?
In 2026.
The premium, health insurance premiums for thus far in 2026.
In 2025.
Yeah, because you paid that in arrears. I see how you did that.
I mean, in effect, that's the same thing, but I'd like it just
You
to
can
be
state,
pretty clear that it says that we agree to request, or we agree to accept the offer from County Prosecutor David Hayes to look into the options that may be legally available to us in order to make these reimbursements.
okay,
That's,
okay.
I have no-
Not health insurance options, but the options available to reimburse.
Mhm.
I have no problem with that.
Any further discussion? Did we, okay, she's giving me the halt.
I've got to come up with verbiage that makes sense on this, and I haven't got there yet.
We had to put you to the test on your first day,
I've been doing this for almost 3 years, you know that?
but it's your first
I
day.
know. Yes. All right, the moved and seconded to accept the accept the offer of Prosecutor David Hayes to research legal ways in which to reimburse outstanding healthcare reimbursements in 2025 and 26.
Healthcare premium, yeah, reimbursement.
Is that sufficient?
Oh, sure. I think so, yeah.
All right, I need to know who moved and who seconded, please. Is someone making
I
that?
think
I think Mary
Lori
moved.
moved and I seconded.
That was
No,
on
no,
the
that was the
resolution.
this
This is
resolution.
a
I
motion.
think,
We now have the verbiage on the motion. Who is making the motion?
I think is it your motion, Chris?
Oh,
Well, I mean, I certainly can. Okay, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
and I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Sometimes I get jumpy about making motions that are for me.
Yeah,
personally.
that's true, I didn't really.
Accept the offer
think
from
a lot.
Prosecutor Hayes to research ways to legally reimburse outstanding healthcare premiums from 2025 and 26.
Correct,
Mr. Mutcher.
yes.
Ms. Moyer. Yes. Ms. Aspen.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
And Chris, you're taking the football and running with it.
Great.
Lateral path. Oh, we still have a meeting to go, okay, cool,
That's
we
it.
got through it.
Not really.
I would enter Jane in a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Oh.
By acclamation at 7:15.